The pressure was on because you knew that every service was fully booked, and yes, people were spending a lot of money to dine with us, and people literally flying in because you're on the world culinary map because of your 2 stars or 3 stars, and you need to give these people what they deserve. There's a saying: alone you go fast, together you go far. Go for that route, because at the end that will help you. How many superstars, celebrities, if it's music industry or chefs, fail because they work alone? They go fast, but they crash very hard. There is more focus on the show at the table, the presentation, the element of wow. And unfortunately, sometimes taste is forgotten.
Welcome back to the Chef JKP podcast. And on the show today, I am extremely excited and honored to welcome back my first ever guest. He is the Group Director of Operations for the Amai Gourmet Restaurants. It's the one and only Mr. Halil Asar. Halil, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me back, James. It's amazing to be here, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So, since you last came on the show, we spoke about your book and so many other things, but now we're going to get into even more details.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure. The biggest news, we came all out of the house because it was COVID time.
Yeah, exactly. So, first things first, can you please tell me your first or favorite ever childhood food memory?
Wow, yeah, it's amazing. We go way back. My mom was working a lot, 3 jobs, a single mom, and I remember it's not even one dish. It's 7 dishes made with chicken and rice, because what she did is she made chicken and rice in 7 different varieties, because we were a little short in funds. It was not easy at that time, but she managed, while she was working in a restaurant and learning recipes, to create chicken and rice in 7 different ways. So for me, it's just the emotion behind it rather than just the flavor. So on Monday, I was eating chicken and rice sandwich. Then it was a stew. Then it was something like a burger. And then it was a chicken and rice goulash. Can you imagine? So it is a lot of meaning behind this. And if you put love into food, it will absolutely taste nice and create memories.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's incredibly creative.
Yes.
Right? But that's what parents do, out of love.
Yes.
And I think that's incredible. So just remind us, for people who didn't listen to the first one, what are your roots when it comes to food and restaurants in general?
Yeah, we can skip again a generation, actually. My grandma, from my mom's side, used to be a chef for a family, a very wealthy family. And obviously my mom was kind of like a sous chef to her, to help her doing basic stuff. And this is where it all started. And in my book, there is a page dedicated to my grandma with her signature dish. And you see me literally sitting on a potty while she's doing the prep for this family. She's making a soup. And I think this is where it all started. And then coming, of course, to my mom, she was a widow at the age of 21, and she was studying law, and she had to drop this study to work and make easy money. And talking about 42 years ago, hospitality restaurant jobs were easy. You could just get cash in hand every night. And this is where it all started. And obviously when I grew up and I had to help my mom again, because at one point the restaurants where she worked as, she became a partner and co-owner. And so we're all absorbed and involved in this scene. And this is how it started.
So because I think what was one of the really beautiful things that you were saying previously is that when you were doing your homework, it was in the wine cellar.
Yeah, indeed. So the daily flow was I go to school. After school, immediately jump on my bike in Holland, in the Netherlands, back in the days, and help my mom with prep work for the restaurant. But at the same time, I need to do homework, right? I had like an hour break, but I was not studying my books. I was studying boxes, and back in the days, it wasn't cardboard; it was wooden boxes, and each wine box had a nice label on the side with the vintage. I was studying that. What does this all mean? Chateau Margaux, mise en bouteille au chateau, and 1995, what does this mean, and I was studying that, so I was really absorbed and intrigued by that, and I didn't know there was so much variety, and I kind of start liking it, and my mom saw that, and she said, okay, you're going to a school what teach you more, and that was the hotel management school back in the days.
And was it an easy thing for you when it came to the education part? And what I mean by that is, did you already know your destiny when it came to the restaurant scene? Was it already, because it was obviously in your blood,
Yes,
from your grandmother, from your mum, was it already ingrained in you that you were going to be a hospitality professional?
yeah, as you say, it's a vibe, it's a feeling, it just feels right. And if you really believe that this is destiny for you and you feel it, you don't know it yet because you're too young, you still need to discover, you need to go your path, but if it feels right, just go for it. And that's my advice to every young listener now. If you really believe and you feel you are going to be the next astronaut, go, go, go. Chase your dreams and lock yourself into it, and ask for help for anyone who can get you there. And I felt it felt right, and and everything what came to me, it was so natural and so organic, and I feel so connected with it. And if you then put your heart into it, it's just a very organic flow. It's very nice actually feeling. So you don't need to study much hard, because everyday learning, day-to-day learning is your book.
So the other thing I want to just ask you a small favor. Can you, because your CV is phenomenal, especially when it comes to Michelin. Now, if you can you just bullet point for me the restaurants that you worked in with the amount of stars first?
Yes. My first ever job was in my hometown Zwolle, represented by Yoni and Therese Boer, de Liberije, 3 Michelin stars. I started there working at the age of 14, while doing studies, while working for my mom in the weekends. So that's 3 stars. Then I moved to Amsterdam to a restaurant called Vermeer. 2 stars Michelin at that moment in the NH hotels, and the kitchen was kind of consulted by Ferran Adrià at that time from El Bulli. Wow. 3 Michelin stars, so we had even a stage also 3 days with him. Then I moved to the beautiful Intercontinental Amsterdam hotel, and there's a restaurant called La Rive, also 2 Michelin stars. I served there almost a year. And during a wine dinner, I met the patron and actually my longest boss, Kees Helder. And with him and Restaurant Parkheuvel in Rotterdam, we were the first in Holland to achieve 3 Michelin stars. And I was fortunate to start very young with him and to be a maitre d' sommelier at the age of 24. We got our first Michelin star. After that, I worked for Restaurant Ivy with François Geurts, a very talented chef. I worked there when it was 1 star, and a little later it received 2 stars. And this is where actually my a real Michelin star journey ended, all in Holland. Then I moved to the Middle East, and we all know where we stand now. The Michelin is in town. The scene is growing, the quality, the environment is really improving, and hope one day I can put another star on my jacket here.
Because look, I think it's a phenomenal CV when it comes to those stars. But what I wanted to sort of ask you is, it's no mean feat working at that level. At one point, you were the youngest 3-star Michelin maitre d' in Europe.
Yes.
So this is, again, something, and at a very young age, your knowledge must have been, like a bibliothèque, I call it. What did all of those restaurants, would you say, had in common? Because they obviously had a common thread when it comes to service, when it comes to food, when it comes to hospitality. But you yourself, when you were in the fire, how was that? And what is that bloodline that those restaurants are getting right?
I think all of them, to answer your question very directly, they were all family owned. The chef was the patron, means owner. The wife was the host. The wife was the HR. The wife was the finance. Sons involved, family involved. Grandpa was the painter and the carpenter, and the team was family. And this is something with time, I think, and especially related to this environment, is not on that level yet. It's less family owned. There's less heart, I would say. It might sound a little bit kick in the face for some people, but I think that all the restaurants had that in common. It was family owned. It was their house. It was their castle, and it was more than passion. It was their legacy, and I think that's something inspiring, and I will never forget. And that's why I have so much respect for these patrons still till they operating, working, and retaining their stars.
Wow. But look, anybody who hasn't worked at that level, I don't believe they know or they feel two things: the level of detail that goes into those restaurants, but number two is the level of pressure that goes into working at such high-end establishments. You're talking for the Formula Ones of the restaurant world. How was the pressure for you in those restaurants? Did you feel it, or because you were ingrained in it, it wasn't something that really bothered you?
Yeah. First of all, allow me. There are so many restaurants today in the world who are on that level, but just because they are not awarded a Michelin star or they're not acknowledged in a guide doesn't mean they're not in the elite. So please, to everyone who's listening, keep on rocking it, keep on shining, keep on putting your heart into it, because Mr. Michelin or whatever ranking didn't award you or listed you doesn't mean you're not there. There are so many restaurants. I have still very dear friends today in Holland rocking it, even better, doing better than several Michelin stars in the world, and I absolutely hold my hand up for that. They don't have a star, and that's in a way unfair, I would say, but it's not up to me. But to everyone who's listening, everyone is on a stage where the audience is the same. Everyone can come into your restaurant who ate yesterday in a 3-star can come into your restaurant now, and just because you don't have a star, don't give up. For me, it was serious. You need to take this serious. It's not a job, and that's the difference. I think we never showed up to work as a job. I worked in this restaurant Parker for 10 years, and I never asked for a raise. No, I was on a mission. I was every day. My mission was to put my uniform on, and the question was, do I represent this property in the best way, with my body language, with my attire, with the smile on my face? And I was fair enough to hold my hand up to say, hey, listen, I'm not super fit today. I need you to back me up. So it was locked in always. I was focused. But the pressure was on, because you knew that every service was fully booked. And yes, people were spending a lot of money to dine with us, and people literally flying in because you're on the world culinary map because of your 2 stars or 3 stars. And you need to give these people what they deserve. You're inviting them to your house. They are your guest, so you need to give your best. So that was more the pressure of giving the people what they deserve, rather than the trust and the belief that we, yes, work with the best produce. Yes, we have the best team. Yes, we have proven that we are quite good, actually, but not to disappoint people. That was the biggest pressure.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you from a personal perspective is that because you were a top level maitre d' in Europe at that time, nobody, I believe, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, nobody really sort of teaches you or tells you how to manage people, especially when you're young, in your 20s. Exactly. I think it's extremely difficult. How did you, because we know that, you know yourself, that chefs are a different, they have that different management style, let's say. But from your point of view, leading these top flight restaurants, how was it for you? I mean, you had the pressure on your shoulders to keep up those standards at all times, to represent the property, but you also had to lead that front of house team.
Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, you say it right. I was young, and many people now in the world are leading companies at a young age. And my key message here is you are not alone. So I always had someone to go to and to speak to. I was never afraid to ask for help. And to come to the point, it was always the patron, the chef, or the wife, where I always knocked on the door, say, I need you here. Yes, as much as they're the one paying me for the job, but it's better safe than sorry to say, I have a situation. It could be with a colleague, it could be with a guest. What would you like me to say and do? I need you here. Because at the end, if I do wrong because of my age, because of my emotional control, I don't have that much life experience. I have a gut feeling, but at the end, I represent you. I represent your legacy. And it's your pride, help me here. And that's my advice, special now. It's a mental game. Unfortunately, many people suffer, many people fail just because it's too much ego involved. Reach out, even if it's not your direct colleague, reach out to your friend. Like I would call you to say, hey buddy, what's up? Listen to this. What do you say? And that's it. And that's my advice now for any game, any industry. You can be stuck. It's human. It's normal. And if you don't know the answer, reach out. And I think that's also the leader I am today. I'm very open book. The door is open. If I'm stuck, I consult with my team. Maybe they know the answer. And that's
I think that's a fantastic answer, Halil. Thank you, because you're right. A lot of people especially within the higher management level, they would always go within and never sort of consult, because the ego is the worst enemy, right? So I think also, but for you to have the foresight and to have the mature nature to go beyond and be like, you know what, I'm going to take 5 minutes and I'm going to ask the chef patron or whatever, I think is really fantastic.
I mean, you have to work as a committee. You know, there's a saying, alone you go fast, together you go far. Go for that route, because at the end, that will help you. How many superstars, celebrities, if it's music industry or chefs, fail because they work alone? They go fast, but they crash very hard. And
it's not an easy journey.
Exactly.
But look, the other thing I wanted to sort of touch upon is from your perspective and your knowledge, what would you define as true hospitality?
Hospitality is a home feeling, what you need to give. Hospitality is welcoming people to your cafe, your restaurant, and you just have to give them a feeling of you're welcome. Maybe it's not the best food you're going to eat, or maybe you're going to compare my food or my drink or my service with your experience of yesterday, but this is what I give you with all my heart, and that's my hospitality. It's not per se a comparison. Hospitality is true operating, working, talking from the heart. And I think that's hospitality. And that's why in countries like, let's say, less polished, like Thailand, in the streets, there's this, 70-year-old street hawker with his goggles, with his ski goggles.
J-Fi,
exactly. Salute to her. Having the world at her foresight, because she does everything with heart. Same for her team. Hospitality is all about heart. And don't freak out if someone decides to come to you and to experience your hospitality, but you better give your heart and you better put the best you have on the table. Then they will respect. They will have their opinion. They might say in themselves, okay, I had better meals, but even the food was delayed. The way the server deal with it, it's amazing. And that's why I will come back, and that's why this restaurant will have a future. It's not all about to punish. No, don't be afraid. Just do you from the heart, believe in your team, and that's hospitality.
Yeah, because I agree with you. Look, so many times I think the service teams, they save the ass of the chef or the kitchen. And quite rightly, it's because of the welcome. It's because they've put the heart into it. It's because, so many things. But on the flip side, it can be heartbreaking when you have the kitchen kind of doing as much as they can, and then some of the service team members are not engaged per se, or they don't give their all or deliver. It's a double-edged sword, right? It's not easy.
Yeah, for example, I deal with very big teams. I worked in big hotel operations with 11 outlets. I had at one point 260 people reporting to me. And there's always an issue or a scene where a guest is not happy, or the food is delayed, or in between colleagues there are conflicts. And I always say, okay, guys, let's go to your house. We're going to sit on your sofa. We are your guests, and then we're going to talk this out in a correct way, as in the world of hospitality. Talk to me now as you would talk to your guest. Would you send me out? Would you disrespect me? Would you not just give your heart to solve the situation? So, and that's to the younger listeners, and even in my team, and they know who's listening, they will recall a lot of conversations with me to say, okay, guys, hospitality is always imagine that you're welcoming people to your home. If you are located in a section in a restaurant and that's your 4 or 5 tables, treat them as they decided to come to your house and to eat your food, to drink your drink, and walk out with saying thank you. I really appreciate. So and it's a journey. There's no script. The same person, it's different. The guest, meaning today he's happy, tomorrow he's sad, because that's life.
Yeah, but I think that's also a fantastic way to mentor young people, especially when they're coming up in the management roles. Is that feeling of hospitality, because I feel, again, some restaurants get it spot on. Some restaurants could be the very best or whatever, but then the hospitality isn't there. So that for me is quite a big thing that's missing. Now, what I cannot ignore, Halil, again, going back to your wine knowledge, certification, education, and love for wines. Why do you feel that, we always see the speakeasy bars are like the hero, right? It's all about the cocktails and that sort of thing. But we all know, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, there are some phenomenal, extraordinary wines out there. Why are those not celebrated as much, would you say?
Wine is made by a winemaker. It's labeled. Yes, you can decide if you put it in a carafe and then pour it in a glass, or you do the show by holding a glass in the hand and pour the wine. But there is not much heart further in making the product. But if you speak cocktails or mixology, the creation is from the person in front of you. He's literally shaking it in front of you. You're putting the ingredients together and he serves it in front of you. So my advice is to make wine more a celebration is not only tell the people, show the label, where it's coming from, what is the vintage and how rainy or how dry the year was. Yes, that's education, but sommeliers are too much, too scripted. They only want to tell you how much they know about the wine. No, talk to us about what is your memory of drinking this wine or selecting this wine to represent it on your list, and why is it so good with the dishes of Chef James, right? What is his philosophy? And this is how I pair, and James, you and me work together. It's not always choosing a wine with a dish. No, sometimes there's a wine, and I would ask you, I taste this in the wine. I imagine this flavors. Can you please cook something what comes close to this? And that's the emotion again. That's hard. So hospitality in wine is also the true essence of flavor, emotions, thinking, and imagination. Sometimes you need to get lost. And that's the thing. I think with wine, what can be worked on, not only the fine brush on your jacket and having a list of 600 references, beautiful lined up in vintages on a page. No, it's the interaction. Be yourself. Tell a little bit more in depth about the wine, not per se where is it coming from, the alcohol. No, I see you ordering this dish. Would you like me to recommend some wines would go very well? My recommendation, would you take it? This is how sommeliers, I would say, should interact with guests at the table.
Because look, if you go back to childhood,
Yeah.
we all love stories,
Yes.
right? All of us.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what it is, everyone loves a story.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that if the sommelier was to upsell a wine based on the chef's presentation or the dish or the flavors or when they tasted this, you're absolutely right. If the sommelier came to me and said, look, I see that you've chosen so on and so forth. I've got some really fantastic choices. May I recommend? You're going to be like, yes.
Yeah.
Especially when they open up, and because you're going to be interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And go out of the
not
box.
just about the label and that. Okay, fine, we get that part, but also when they're putting their own twist on things, it sort of makes you more excited, and you go, oh my god, yeah, this is amazing.
Exactly.
You know?
And there's so much good developments. Why not challenging a guest to say, hey, do you want to taste a wine from Georgia? Would you like to taste a wine from Greece? Yeah, well, that's not famous. That's not common. No, that's why I'm here. I want you to have an amazing experience. Maybe it's a memory for life, you know?
And you open that adventure to them, right?
Exactly.
So now, Amai Gourmet. First of all, what I want to sort of understand is tell me specifically the concept of kata.
Yeah.
What is it? How was the inception born, and where are you located?
Yes. Kata, first of all, the meaning, it comes from martial arts. It's basically, kata stands for a movement. As we say, martial art is Japanese and Asian, and all their crafts are with discipline, are with patience. So kata is a movement. So we translate it to whatever we do is discipline. So we're a house of discipline. How we source our products, we take time, we put heart into it. How we select our team, we just want good characters and diversity of characters to make the show complete. It's how we designed our venue. A lot of details in there, a lot of beautiful ambiance elements are there, but also the execution, you know, how we cut our meat, how we cut our fish, how we sear a vegetable. So everything is disciplined, how we communicate. So whatever we do is with heart and discipline. Amai Gourmet Restaurants was the dream of Mr. Muklasar Pinto, a serial entrepreneur, Canadian entrepreneur, traveling the world. And sometimes I tease him with the Michelin story, saying, hey, you travel the world, you sleep in hotels, you dine in restaurants, and you actually compare and judge and say, this was good, this could be better. And just because of the love of travel and being exposed to different food, together with his brothers, they said, hey, that's our next destination. We should do an amazing restaurant. And they decided Dubai Mall as a destination. And here they brought on board Marwan Sardouk, well-known chef here in the region, and myself. And together with the Rahman family, we created Amai Gourmet Restaurants as a restaurant group. And our first success and brainchild is Kata. So we're in the Dubai Mall. Waterfront promenade, front row seats to the beautiful dancing fountains. And I have to say, we're not another mall restaurant. We shock people. We kind of surprise people with the level of quality of food and the service and the presentation, the plating we put out there. And people say like, hey, shouldn't you be in the DIFC? Shouldn't you be in a 5-star hotel? No, we choose this area. We want to be in the center of the world. We want to cater to a lot of palates, international, local, and we're happy where we are. And yeah, and of course, with that, being in a mall, not having the chance to serve alcohol, it creates a new area of creativity for us to have an amazing bar and mixology plan with 0% alcohol, and there are great solutions, as we know, and to surprise people, not to serve just Coca-Cola on the table, but more and greater flavors in a glass.
Yeah, because look, for anyone who hasn't been, so if you just picture the scene, you have sort of all the fast food chains, food courts around, that sort of thing. And then when you come to Qatar, first of all, you're greeted super professionally by the hostesses. You walk in and you're transported into this beautiful restaurant. You have this incredible mural at the back. And then you walk past sort of the bar, the sushi counter, and then the open kitchen. But then the difference is that when you're being served, it's a high, I would say, Michelin-esque experience when it comes to being served. Then your mocktails, they don't look like mocktails, they look like alcoholic cocktails, and there's the dry ice everywhere. But it's not just about that. The show is fantastic. But let's not talk about the show, let's talk about the flavors. The flavors of the mixology is also super vibrant. And then, of course, the team in the kitchen, when you're tasting that food, again, the presentation is beautiful, taste is fantastic. So for a mall restaurant, I can imagine it was very weird in the beginning for the customers to go like, well, this is a bit high-end. I'm not used to this level of service.
Yeah, you're right. So first of all, we selected and assembled an amazing team. And yes, we have people working with us today who had years of experience in the best restaurants in Dubai, and name the top brands. We have them. And as we are a Japanese concept, so we have chefs who worked in the best restaurants in Dubai. We have servers who worked in the best 5-star hotels and the best restaurants. But the number one rule is no compromise on quality. Yes, you can have a Wagyu A5 in the Dubai Mall at Qatar. You can have scallops, or you can have a very premium other meat or fish, Chilean sea bass, and the prices are right because we kept it in mind. We're serving in a mall. We cannot give, let's say, DIFC pricing or 5-star hotel pricing. So we're on a mission. It's not easy. And it will take still time to convince people to dine with us, to say like, hey, you get top quality food for a very reasonable price, and it just don't look good. It really tastes good because we spent so much time on getting these flavors together, and so yeah, very interesting.
But you touched upon the sort of the non-alcoholic part. Now, I want to sort of really focus on that at the minute, because it would have been super simple and super easy for you to serve Coca-Cola or an orange juice or whatever. But no, you've actually got a beautiful selection of mocktails that the preparation is out of this world. Yeah. How did you and the team conceptualize all of this?
Yeah, imagine, and that comes from me, who served 20 years the best liquors, wines in the world. But I have to give credit to all the companies behind these products. If I can name the Liars Company, the Drink Dry store, even beer brands like Peroni and Asahi. This is a market for them also. And it's not only serving guests who don't want to drive, it's a lifestyle, it's a health decision also, because alcohol is sugar. It's not always the healthiest. So there are two categories on our menu. We have the wine and the beer, and there's a very nice process with the reverse osmosis and distilling and heating up the spirit, the liquor, and removing the alcohol and just work with the substance what is alcohol free or 0.000 something halal, and the flavor is still there. In Qatar, you can have a beer what tastes like beer, and just gives you the punch, it gives you the feel, but you don't get tipsy.
And is that the same for the wines nowadays?
Yes, exactly. So what happens is the products we work with, and it's a beautiful brand called Vintense. They buy grapes. There are negociants who are like wine brokers, grape brokers. They literally buy grapes from great chateaus from wherever in the world, and they process it differently. So so you can have a Blanc de Blanc champagne, 100% Chardonnay, what we will serve daily actually, and it tastes as good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and why not? So name a wine or a grape varietal, and there is not only experimentation with it. No, there are products in the market taste as good as wine.
So how do you feel about it? I mean, what I mean is, again, you have a very honed-in palate, 20 plus years at the top level, service, restaurants all over the world. In the beginning, were you skeptic a bit about it, or were you straight away, you know what, I think this is the way forward?
Yep. It's still, we're in a process. It's a process of introduction. It's a process of education. And yes, the labels of the wines look a little bit different than the Chateau Margaux made in France. This label doesn't per se say which country or which winery or which vintage. So that's a little bit of essence you have to bring in and talk through. And
but that's a good gap in the market.
Exactly. And that's the storytelling and trust in the sommelier. The sommelier doesn't have to be someone per se serving alcohol. It's someone who's expert in recommending beverages. So why not non-alcoholic? So we're in that phase of introduction, and I'm a true ambassador for this. This is here to stay. This is not a trend. This is not just a hype. This is here to stay. And I think the product will only evolve more and more, and we will see better products coming out. People are sometimes skeptical, especially the Western guests who like their pint and who like their gin tonic. But yeah, we show them the bottles, we explain the story behind it, and we literally, before making a gin tonic, we introduced, would you like to take a sip? Would you like to smell? Oh, actually this smells like gin, or this tastes like gin. Same for the beer. Wow, bring it on. And before you know, 3 rounds further, and they're thankful to you. And that's all about hospitality.
Right.
Win the trust of your guests. And at the end, doesn't matter what you serve them, because you serve your heart.
Wow. Do you know what I love also is that I think the type of menu that you have, you can also elaborate on the chef's tasting menu, or if somebody wanted to have that sort of gourmet experience, you can have it. But if we go back to a classic fine dining restaurant like Noma, for example, and I don't mean classic in the French sense, I mean like well known. They were sort of not one of the first, but they did something very special, that they were sort of cultivating their own non-alcoholic kombuchas.
Yep.
And doing their own sort of. So if you didn't want to have a tasting menu or a wine flight, they were also doing it with non-alcoholic. And I think this has now opened up the world to people who want to have the non-alcoholic experience, but they can also have the essence of those wine flights. Yeah. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. And Noma, I'm so happy that you mentioned it. It is a beautiful story. They didn't give a damn to have 2 stars for years and be best #1 in the world, while there are other restaurants with 3 stars. No, they did what they believed in. And they didn't really care. But the entire world made a journey up there to Scandinavia to make it a destination worth a detour, or how you call it. And they were fine with 2 stars. And they just said, like, this is who we are. This is us. Come and experience. And that should be a great motivation for many others here. And if you feel like you're creating a new drink, if it's called kombucha, or if it's a ginger beer or something else, go for it. Maybe you start a new scene, or you start a new chapter in the book of gastronomy, and believe in it.
But look, the other thing I wanted to sort of ask you at the same time is with Qatar and Amai, obviously you guys have been operating for a few years now.
Yeah, we're in the
Right.
second year.
Right. You're creating a name for yourselves. What's the next move for you guys? What would you like to do next?
Yeah. This is news for many people, but we are working on the second venue.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We decided that the second venue had to be more in a residential area, where we want to somehow elevate the experience even more. Think of the comfort of parking, the service of parking, to have more a secluded but also more privacy environment. We're going to work on private dining experiences.
Oh, wow.
So that's a sneak peek. We're going to do tailored menus. So more in the private scene. So what else is there for us? Kata or Amai Gourmet is not only about Japanese food. We are, as we speak, traveling the world to be inspired. So why not Amai Gourmet having an amazing coffee shop with great patisserie? Or why not Amai Gourmet having a great catering or a home service activation? So Amai Gourmet is all about catering to needs of the environment. And as I say, environment is not only UAE or Dubai. We are looking at expanding and establish new venues, maybe wherever in the world.
It's exciting, man.
No borders, yes.
Yeah. Wow. But look, the other thing is that because you're of course, you are a big part of the ever expanding food scene, not just in Dubai, but within the Middle East. And you've obviously been here for some time and you've seen the changes. What are your thoughts on the food scene here in this region?
I think with the technology coming more and more into the food scene, I think there is more focus on the show at the table, the presentation, the element of wow. And unfortunately, sometimes taste is forgotten. Yes, dry ice, everyone used, but doesn't go into your mouth, it's no memories for that. Yeah, you can have visual and experience. So that's a change, I would say. Well, 12 years ago when I came to the Middle East, it was all about the food. Instagram was not that active. So the technology and the experience now, even with 3D scanners, if you scan a dish or a drink, it comes to life. So that's a big change, but we cannot forget taste and flavors. If it's a beverage or a food, the essence is eating and drinking, and not only visually.
Because as you know, here especially, there's a big push to have cabaret shows. Not so much. There's not too much. Also, I don't see too much tableside preparation, unfortunately.
Yes.
And you're right. The taste seems to sort of go out the window. It's more about the Instagram.
Yep.
How do you feel about that? Is that a threat to the hospitality industry?
You say it, and I thought about it. Threat is the right word, because sad enough, everyone works to have a Michelin listing or a Michelin star or a Gomio listing, and if this influencer didn't visit you, you are not there. No, please forget that. Maybe your journey takes longer time to get to where you want to be, but maybe where you want to be is do the right thing every day, and maybe you have a small following of loyal guests who come back and bring friends and bring family. There's more valuable than because an influencer visited you and he or she respectively know what is good or bad, I don't know, or because he or she came, you are listed somewhere. A lot of politics, a lot of again, maybe with this I disturb some people, but it is real. The essence is just to work with heart, believe in what you do, and not per se in which platform you land or which Instagram feed or reel you're featured on, tagged on. it doesn't per se bring people. What brings people is quality of people, your team, and the quality of your product. And doesn't matter where you are. If the product is good, people will find you.
I think that's a fantastic point, because the other one I wanted to sort of ask is that, again, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, Instagram wasn't so much in your face. Certainly when I was sort of growing up within the restaurant sort of structure, you couldn't Google image or Facebook a meal at Per Se or Thomas Keller or Park Oval.
Yeah.
You'd go there because you'd hear about how incredible the food is. Nowadays, any food you want, any chef restaurant dish, it's online, right? So that's sort of either capped the creativity, or you have to really think outside the box to really push yourself. Yeah. But when it comes to sort of the challenges that I wanted to ask you with social media and within hospitality, I can't ignore mental health. Again, there are so many factors within hospitality that sort of mental health comes in. And what I mean by that is, okay, especially in this region, you have the pressure, you have the sort of visa issues, let's say. You have the issues that, am I doing well, being compared to other people. There's a lot of that. Now, yourself as a hospitality leader and mentor, how do you go about that on a daily basis with your team?
Yeah, first of all, when we bring people on board, I said, welcome to Amai Gourmet, Qatar restaurant. Yes, we are one of the 14,000 restaurants in Dubai. Are you sure you want to work with us? It starts with that.
What an amazing question.
Yeah. And then the second question is, what do you know about us? If it's just here, if you're just here sitting at my table to have a job, tomorrow you're already looking at restaurant number 13,999, because that's how many people work. Yes, the region for many people is an escape from back home. Yes, not everyone has a good situation back home. You need to flee, you need to build a new future. I respect that. But I think with the media, with the growth, the speed, and literally the inventory of restaurants and hotels, that's the biggest challenge, to retain people. Because I know truly that I'm good enough for my staff, but do they have the patience to stick around with us? Because it's the wage we pay or the package we offer. And one of the last questions is in the interview, like, yes, this is a salary we discussed, but allow me to highlight to you what we give more than the monetary reward. It's me in front of you. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to be your mentor for many years. I'm here in good and bad. I'm not here only to compliment you on your work or whip your ass when you need to do better, but I'm here also if you need someone with a shoulder to cry on. And that's the biggest challenge. I think it's the people, because we're on a fast lane. We're on a so fast world. Everything is glam. Tomorrow is a new hotel, flashier. And that's the biggest challenge, I would say.
I think you're right. It's the investment in people.
Yeah.
Everything else you can sort of work around, I think, but the biggest challenge is always the people. And you're absolutely right. Is how do we retain talent? Because my other question was going to be, and I think you sort of semi-answered it, is how do you nurture the future superstars of tomorrow? And the reason why I'm asking you is because, again, from a technology perspective, technology will never give us heart, warmth, hospitality. Ever, 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 ever. Right? But for you, you're one of those key people in this region who's always nurturing talent. But why is it important to you?
Today, I still celebrate and enjoy my old colleagues or my people I work with and grew, and I receive pictures saying, thanks to you, I got my WSET 4 certificate. Thanks to you, I am a manager in one of the best restaurants in the region, or thanks to you, I'm still with the company because you said don't give up, be true, etc., etc.
Wow.
And that's today, even with us, the daily challenge. I know with the owners the direction we're going, but I cannot be always there. So I need to rely, or we need to rely on our people. So that's the difficult part. If it comes to an influencer visiting or a VIP visiting, then suddenly everyone has to check their uniforms better. No, the table next door is as VIP as this lady
Thank you.
making you or breaking you. And that's the thing with the speed of technology. As we know, a compliment, the word is spread 4 times, but a critic is 20 times. And now with the technology and the speed of internet, or what the media, it's even maybe 50 times or 60 times. So that's an ongoing process, nurturing, as you say. I cannot make copies of me, but as much as possible, we need to assemble a team together to give the message out as we want. So it's a lot of check-ins, a lot of moments of training, a lot of listening, a lot of feedback. And yes, it hurts us if we see a bad review because of what happened in the venue, and you think, should I be there? No. You have to trust your team. You need to train them and nurture them to do better tomorrow. And that's the exciting part of being a leader. Being a leader is not how quick I can fill in an Excel form, or how nice graphics I can present to my peers to say, look, this is what we have done. The best leader is leading a team with heart, with commitment, with confidence, and with the feeling of, hey, follow me, we're going this way. And that's the beauty, I think, of our industry, and actually any industry. Human capital, you named it. What is a company without people? And unfortunately, AI and robots are going to take over. But till that time, let's train our people, let's nurture them, and let's celebrate mistakes, and let's not put our heads down because once something went wrong. No. How do we tackle this? What can we do? And look in the mirror. What could I have done better? And let's work on it. Let's take credit. Bring it on.
You know, that's such an amazing thing to say. Celebrate your mistakes, because so Gordon Ramsay recently was on this show, and one of from everything that he said, the key takeaway for me was he said, dance in the storm.
Yeah.
Because if you embrace that, then everything else becomes easy.
Yeah.
And I think it's what you said. But it sort of brings me to another point that I wanted to ask you, because we've never discussed this in all the years I've known you. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Halil. Right. I'm sorry. When it comes to, I'm not going to talk about professional food critics, but when it comes to people critiquing the restaurant, whether it's Qatar, whether it's somewhere else you worked before, and you know that they do not have the professional qualifications that you have rightly earned, how do you tackle that yourself and the team? Because it's a two-pronged attack. They're attacking or critiquing the restaurant, the kitchen, the staff, everything. How do you deal with that?
First of all, respect everyone who makes the effort to talk to you and say, for my belief, and maybe it's the right or the wrong tone. Let's put that aside. You need to value people saying, I believe, or in my belief, this could be better, or the service could be faster. You need to say thank you to your guests, because these are your best teachers, not only me as a leader. The company grows, and my creativity, my inspirations comes from my team and from our guests. I have to say thank you. There is a reason why someone criticizes you. And there's an essence, there's a source that you need to find and say, yes, he or she is right. And some people go extreme, and some people enjoy making drama. And you need to put a filter into that. Till this extent, I agree with you, sir, ma'am, in the restaurant. But here, this doesn't make sense. So again, your guests are in your house. They choose to dine with you. They could go anywhere, especially in Dubai. They could go next door to spend their money. They came to you to bring their money to you. So be thankful. And how much guests you're serving and how fast you're serving, you still should step back and say, yes, this person has a point. And you need to control your emotion and take this forward. Maybe you don't have the solution or the answer immediate, and be okay to say to the guest, at this moment, I cannot do much more for you. You have eaten. I can offer you a free drink. I can give you a discount for as a excuse. But I would like to talk to you tomorrow, day after, because it doesn't stop here. And this is where I think many restaurants or industry fail, is the service recovery post-visit. Welcoming guests, take their money, feed them and send them out, done, next. But real hospitality is after the guests leave. You want to welcome them back. So why not, before a guest leave, know his or her name? Because if something went well or either wrong, you can pick up the phone and say, thank you for the compliment. It really made our day. I shared it with the team in the briefing, but also thank you for highlighting something we could have done better. Also, this is brought to the highlight with the team, and thank you. You make us better. So, and that's the thing. So, being a true critic or an influencer with the blue tick, or I don't know how many restaurants you need to visit to call yourself a critic. No, everyone is valued. Each critic is valuable, and you need to work with that.
I think it's a lovely answer, Halil, really. But I'm just wondering, because you know how some people, they love to make drama just because something went wrong, or they've had a really horrid day and then they want to take it out on somebody.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure we know that there's people out there like that. But you're right. I think if it's done in the correct sense, a critique can be a piece of gold that you can add to your armor.
Yeah, I had many times that I encountered this kind of guest and they let go. And sometimes that's nothing to do with the food, whatever, but something what happened before coming to the restaurant. And because of dealing and let them speak and take it all in and value them for their expression, before leaving, quite often I get a handshake to say thank you for letting me be. It was a tough day, but actually the food was okay and we will be back. And these guests are loyal forever,
Wow.
believe me. And your worst enemy can be your best friend or your supporter.
Oh,
and
right.
You just should not give up on the moment. Yeah.
I love that. Now, before we get into the quick fire questions, what's your take on the future of hospitality in this region?
Hospitality of the future in the region, as we mentioned, I think there's amazing development and growth in non-alcoholic services. For beverage, I think that's something to think of. I think maybe a more personalized service, and I was happy to hear that in one of your earlier podcasts. I like to see restaurants becoming a little smaller, more personal. So I really have a time to chat with you rather than you are just a number, table number. And to create more personalized experiences. So more table preparations, as you said, I think that's very nice, and you don't need an army for that. So if you have a decent sized restaurant, at the end it's a business, and you can sustain to run your business but still create amazing memories. I think this will fill up your seats. So I think more personalized experience, more true service to guests kind of engagement. That's for the long run, and not just a trend to do something what everyone else is doing, and copy things, be inspired, but give your own twist. I think that's mainly it. More quality, more niche services, smaller restaurants, more personalized service, and there's room for new things like mixology with 0% alcohol and yeah, I think it's nice.
So the future's bright.
The future's bright, yeah. And then we are fortunate. The world is catering to Dubai, from produce to amazing institutions or chefs coming here, and I forgot to say, I think education. And there is so much investment by the government. So credit to the UAE government. Thank you. To nurture and to educate people not only on the job. There are amazing hotel management and restaurant management and beverage management platforms where experts have the chance to nurture, to teach. So yeah, you don't need to go to Paris per se to study culinary art, or you don't need to be in Japan just to learn the best of sushi, because the people are here.
It is exciting, I have to say. There's so much going on. Right. Quick fire questions. I hope you're ready.
Bring it on.
First one. Favorite ingredient?
Chili.
Any specific chili, or are you just a chili lover?
Heat, yeah.
Heat.
It goes on everything.
Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Sweet.
Snickers, you know.
Red or white wine?
Red.
All right. Top 3 culinary heroes?
Kees Helder, number 1. My grand patron chef who gave me the chance to be on a 3-star level. Sharing with him my mom, also number 1. So we have 2 already.
100%.
And I have to say Yoni Boer from the Liberia. I just experienced them. They give their heart to me. They give me the chance to be on a platform. They nurtured me. So I am thankful for life.
Okay. So people who don't know you, you're of also Turkish descent.
Yes.
So bitterballen or Turkish kebab?
Just because I eat more bitterballen in Holland than kebab, I'll choose bitterballen.
Okay. This is a trick one. Top 3 cuisines.
Top 3 cuisines. I don't know if it's a real cuisine. The number 1 for me is home food, soul food. It just tastes good.
Love it.
Yeah. Second one, I think Japanese, just for the purity, the cleanness, easy to digest, but so nutritious and creative. And number 3, I think Italian. Who doesn't like pizza and pasta?
True story. True story. So, can you please tell me or recall your funniest ever either kitchen restaurant incident that you were involved in or you witnessed directly, please?
You're not going to believe this, but I will not mention the person's name or the restaurant, but in one restaurant a couple of years ago, we had a regular guest. And this gentleman was very charming and flamboyant, good looking. So in 1 week, we made a mistake 3 times. That's why briefings are important, guys. Take note here. 2, welcome back the gentleman. On his visit 2 days ago only, while he was entertaining 3 different ladies. So we messed up so big that I believe the gentleman ended up being in a taxi going home alone. So that was, in a way, funny for us. We giggled, but at the end we're like, guys, wow, it's important to know your guest and sometimes respect their privacy. So yeah, I will never forget this. But he's still loyal. Yeah, I think there are many more, but this is something comes up to my mind.
Right. Very good, very good. What advice would you give to any, so specifically, what advice would you say to sort of business or restaurant owners who want to improve their service standards?
Service standards is believe in every single employee and hire not on a CV, on experience. You have the soft skills and hard skills. You are today because someone put in so much knowledge, taught to you, made you fed up with the same information till you did it right. Hire people young. Hire people young with less attitude, less been there, done that, I will do this better. It's a matter of time. This is going to be toxic. People going to show the people who are talented that there's no way for you to grow because I am here. Have a podium, a stage where people can grow. And I think with that, you will retain people longer to your company because you believed in them and they will pay you back with loyalty. And the food runner today is one of your restaurant managers in the future. Invest time in your people and don't hire on CV and experience. Hire character, hire heart.
So, do you know what's interesting? Yesterday I read an article that quite soon, when companies are putting job interviews forward, on the CVs, they will no longer care whether you have a degree or not. It's all about the person.
Exactly.
You know, so I think it's a fantastic point that you just mentioned. Now, this is going to be the toughest question, Halil. So, what advice would you give to a 16-year-old Halil Asar?
Keep your eyes open. Say thank you to anything what people put in front of you, good or bad. If it's shit, pick it up and make something nice with it. The world is yours.
Now, if people wanted to get hold of you or have a look at Kata, which socials should they be looking at?
I think LinkedIn is the best because through LinkedIn, if you go to Halil Asar, you have a lot of connections to whatever I do. If it's business related, if it's passion related, it's maybe an article or interview I was featured in, or just nice read. My team is getting a lot of posts and WhatsApp messages from me saying, hey, I read a nice article, spend 2 minutes on this, please. So yeah, and LinkedIn, I think will be the best. And from there you can find me, of course, Instagram, Facebook. I don't do much, but yeah.
Okay, so I'll put all of that in the show notes so anyone can get hold of yourself or the restaurant through the different platforms. Now, I just wanted to sort of have a quick recap because we've gone through a lot, you know, from, again, your childhood memories to growing up in the restaurants, doing your homework in the cellar, which I think is beautiful and unique. And I love that. The different types of Michelin-starred restaurants that you've worked in, your knowledge, so many things. Obviously, of course, Amai Group, what you guys are doing in Qatar, and congratulations on the second site coming up with Amai. I think that's really, really exciting, and the rest of the things that are going to come up, the challenges, the lessons that you're saying about true hospitality. I think that is a key point in one of our discussions here, because I feel that hospitality is, as you said quite rightly, it's from the heart, and it needs to be all about that beautiful welcome, you know, and the post-service follow-up. I think that's another thing that people must do. Nurturing talent, again, you know, going through challenges, but also being patient. I think that's a big thing to say there. Briefings. Why briefings are important, and attention to detail.
Knowledge is power.
That's right. So, Halil, all that's left for me to say is a massive thank you for coming back onto the show after some time. You were my first ever guest back in the day, so I'm really happy to have you back on. It's been absolutely phenomenal and sensational to have you back here. And honestly, the best of luck with everything else that you're going to do, and I really look forward to what you're going to do next.
Thank you, James. And I would like to congratulate you with your podcast and bringing us amazing stories, people, knowledge. And yeah, I will never forget that, your food is memories.
Thank you.